year.
First pitch swinging, line drive, he's done it. John Means has no-hit the Mariners. They go! Brown fakes, dishes, Kyrie going for the 50-piece. Irving has 50!
Pressure from the Steelers. Mayfield in trouble, he's going to be taken down. Who else but T.J. Watt?
First downs on this drive. Heineke, end zone, McLaurin, touchdown.
Torres drives that ball center field, hit deep, going back near the wall. Wilkerson, maybe, nope, goodbye, home run. Get him out of there. Don't throw to him.
I never seen anything like
Put
it.
up four fingers.
I've never seen anything like it.
He is just tearing the Orioles apart.
Jonathan Taylor, goodbye, touchdown, Indy, as he crossed the tape at the goal line. 78 yards.
And here we go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sports Department Podcast. I'm Stephen Bologna, joined alongside Jesse Norman and Stephen Clark. Our fearless leader is not joining us. Guess he had better things to do. We are here for the Week 2 NFL recap, and it had some wild games. It wasn't too bad. We had a Monday Night Football doubleheader, which we'll get into if we like that idea of a doubleheader. Two pretty insane comebacks. Overall, solid week. Nothing too crazy, but before we get into it, how you guys doing?
Well, it sucked for all of our teams. I'll put it like that first. But yeah, no, it was another exciting, fun week of football. 2 weeks in a row where, games came down to the last minute. We'll talk about Arizona, I bet, and how that game ended. That was nutty. But yeah, 2 really, really good weeks of football. Can't complain.
Yeah, absolutely couldn't agree more.
So like we did last time, we highlighted a good amount of key games we're going to get into, and then we're just kind of going to brush over and quickly talk about the remaining. But let's start with the Thursday night game.
What about the picks?
I haven't done the calculations yet.
Okay. Never mind. No picks. No picks.
I think you're in last, Clark. So actually, I don't know. I'll get to it. Probably. Chargers visited the Chiefs, and it was a close one, but the Chiefs do stay on top. 27-24 was the final. Justin Herbert did get banged up in this game. A couple broken ribs, I think, or a couple fractures. But the Chiefs ultimately still show that they are the best in the division.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference here, obviously, was the pick six that the Chiefs got that the Chargers also should have had with Asante Samuel Jr. If he picks off that ball in the end zone, he is also taking that back 99 yards. I think, don't get me wrong, the Chiefs are the crop of the AFC up there with the Bills, but I really don't think that gap is that wide for the Chargers. This was a very, very capable game that they could have won very, very easily.
Clark?
Yeah. I mean, these are two, the best teams, not only in the division, but 2 teams in the league. Yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs are just showing me again that as much as we count them out year after year,
who's we?
Season, can't count them out.
I would like to go back to my before season prediction of the Chiefs offense is going to be better without Tyreek Hill. And I would like to date back to that and say that it does look better without Tyreek Hill.
Very good point.
It kind of does. They did kind of I think someone made this reference. I forgot who did, but kind of like the Braves did when Acuna got hurt.
I think it was Justin.
It was Justin. Yeah. He's got a bunch of, replacement, a bunch of 3 guys that replaced one guy, and that's what they kind of did. Plus Kelsey, who, didn't have the greatest game, but, Kelsey's still the best tight end in the league. So, Chiefs look good. Chargers, I mean, if Herbert, if this affects him for the future, they're screwed for their whole season, but I bet he'll be fine. But yeah, two good teams, good Thursday night matchup this was.
Yeah, I think Herbert's going to be okay. One thing that's clear about the Chargers is they just don't have a running game. They just don't even attempt to it. And I guess they don't have to.
It hurts the right side of the line, I feel like, is already pretty banged up and is not as good. They're starting Zion Johnson there at right guard. So if you're starting a rookie, I mean, he's not Rashawn Slater last year, that capability. This was a possible second round pick guy that you're sliding in. It's supposed to be protecting a top 3 to 4 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Chargers will be okay, like Clark said, as long as Justin Herbert will be okay, which I think they said he will be. Maybe at the worst miss a couple games.
I mean, Jameis is playing with 4 fractures in his
God,
back.
I know.
I'd imagine Herbert's just going to play.
Yeah. Chargers defense still looks good. Chiefs, though, they escape with the win. They hold off a late rally. Overall, like Clark said, it was a pretty good Thursday night game. Potential playoff matchup here as well, if we get so lucky. So let's move into Monday night. And we had a double header, a 7-10 Bills mauling of the Titans and a 8-15 or whatever Eagles mauling of the Vikings. 2 just bad games. What are your thoughts? Because I'm not a fan of the doubleheader Monday nights.
I like the doubleheader, but space them.
Yes,
big time.
Do one at 6. Do a 6:31, and then honestly do a 9:30 for West Coast, or maybe even 8:45. And I don't know, but no, they were an hour and 15 minutes apart from kickoff. That part I don't like. But I do like 2 games on Monday. I think that's awesome because you can pay attention to more games on Sunday. Then it's not. I think Sunday. Yeah, I think also spacing out team schedules is always good. Like giving teams a Monday game here and there after they've been, working the Sundays and stuff like that.
So yeah, the Bills. I mean, just an abomination for the Titans. 41-7, the Bills are up for. Josh Allen, 4 touchdowns, connecting with Stephon Diggs for 12 times, 148 yards and 3 touchdowns. And we saw a Malik Willis sighting in this game after Tannehill threw his second pick. He got benched. Willis came in and ran the ball a little bit. Just, I don't know. Titans off to a horrible start. The Bills, though, they look unstoppable.
I hate to be the one to say I told you so about the Titans, but once again, I said the Titans were going to regret this year. They have no receiving core. There's literally their number 1 receiver is a share of Robert Woods and rookie
Austin
Treylon
Hooper,
Burks.
Jesse, come on.
I mean, and then you've seen how many running yards did Henry have? He had under 30. 25. I mean, they looked good on the first drive. The first drive looked like, oh, okay, maybe we'll have a little bit of a game here. And then that was pretty much all of the offense we've seen from the Titans. I think the Bills are far and away the best team in the NFL. I don't care if they struggle down the stretch. I don't care if at some point they skid. That is the best team on paper in the NFL, top to bottom. When playoffs come, that's also a very good coaching staff. I have nothing but faith that the Buffalo Bills are probably at minimum going to be in the AFC Championship game. It's fantastic that they just walloped the Titans, but I think we already knew how much better the Bills were. And I think this just puts more into perspective of everything that the Titans are missing because they were banking on having a top 3 defense again.
Yeah.
You can't just count on that. I mean, Bologna, not to hate on you, but the Washington defense was fantastic 2 years ago. And then they were kind of like, oh, this young defense is just going to grow. And it's gotten progressively worse.
The opposite.
So that defensive regression can hit at any point. You can't just bet on having a top 5 defense.
Well, the thing is, they lost Jeffrey Simmons Jr. Their best
and Harold
Landry.
Rusher.
Yeah,
Harold
they
Landry
lost their
too.
best. They lost their D line basically before the season started, which is
the secondary also they lost players in free agency. They were just expecting. We have a good defense. We have good defensive coaching. We're going to be a good defensive team.
Yeah.
On the other side, Stephon Diggs, 3 touchdowns, 150 yards. I mean,
it's automatic.
That's a true wide receiver 1. That's what teams need. A lot of teams.
Gabriel Davis was out too. Diggs did this without the number 2 receiver playing. Yeah. Gabriel Davis didn't play. And they also do this. They do this with not a real good running back. Singletary, Moss, and we haven't seen anything from James Cook yet. So they're just doing this, all of this without having a legit RB1.
Didn't you draft James Cook in fantasy?
I might have got him in the last round, I think.
I remember that. Okay.
I think
fantasy,
he realistically should take over as the starting job eventually. But the issue is he fumbled in like his first touch that he got week 1.
Yeah.
And also they've been just dominating teams to the point that it doesn't matter if Singletary is in because they don't need to do anything with him anyway.
Yeah. Like Clark said on the other side, Eagles look great. Shut down Kirk Cousins. I mean, he can never play on Monday night anyway. I've learned that 10 times, I think.
Yep.
So, Eagles look great. I mean, no other way to put it. They could be some serious trouble for the NFC.
We never got to do an East pod, but I hinted it in one of like the ones leading up to it that, you know,
they were going to be my pick too.
Well,
they were all that,
but Herbert was my MVP pick last year. It was Jalen Hurts, my MVP pick for this year. I'm not even. I drafted
Ian Book, Rookie of the Year.
Huh?
Ian Book, Rookie of the Year.
Ian Book. That's my boy still. No, I love what Jalen's doing. I had a feeling that he was just going to take this step forward. I mean, ever since that AJ Brown move, I was like, that's they needed. I mean, the run game is fine. You don't need a top 10 running back when you have Jalen who can make plays on his own.
And I think they have a really good running back.
AJ Brown, Rager. I mean, you have a really, really good receiving core. And you know, veteran O-line behind Kelsey and all that. They have a fun offense to watch. They really, really do. And they dominated. Yeah.
Darius Slay locked up. He locked up Jay Jettas.
Very interesting that, like, remember when Darius Slay got absolutely destroyed by DK Metcalf, and then everybody was like, "Oh, this guy is washed." And then literally since that game, he's been like the best corner in the league. I feel like really low key.
He does get cooked low key, but yeah,
I think he also is one of the rare corners still that just will attach to a number one guy and just cover the number one guy also. So you got to give him credit there too, because not many guys do that still. But also, like Clark said, the Eagles offense is explosive. It's really good. I think they struggled in the first part of last year because they were trying to figure out the offense. By the end of the year, they knew what their offense was. And I think now having a full off season, knowing that Hurts was going to be the guy, leaning into everything that he can give the offense. And now that they have two actual stud receivers, instead of, rolling out JJ Arcega-Whiteside and Jalen Reagor and different guys like that. They have Devontae, they have AJ Brown, who AJ Brown has been
an absolute Haskell
deal. Okay,
wanted him.
I could
and Goddard's over at above average.
Goddard obviously too. Yeah, and they always have a good line. This is a team that absolutely can make noise in the NFC, and I fully expect at this point right now to win the East. And I mean, right now you're looking at probably 11, 12 games, I would say, for them, because they can just roll. There's teams that they're just going to roll and time of possession and defense and win their way.
Yep, especially against Washington next week.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be.
Is it Carson's return to Philly?
No, it's in Washington. No, they have to put the Philly one on Sunday night.
Oh.
No, it's not going to be pretty. I saw someone tweet, though, that Darius Slay had more catches than Reagor last night.
Yes, he did. Reagor had 2 punts fielded for -4 yards.
Oh, yeah, it's bad.
No other stat.
Eagles and Bills take care of business on Monday night. Team that took care of business and then blew it was the Baltimore Ravens, up 35-14 at the start of the fourth quarter. And Tua silencing the critics. He's going to be needing a wheelbarrow soon, right, Jesse? Him and head coach Mike McDaniel. They come back and beat and stun the Ravens 42-38. Tua's 469 yards, 6 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill and Waddle both over 150 yards. Both had 2 touchdowns and both had over 10 receptions. I mean, just insane.
This really just does feel like my I told you so week. I've been saying Tua's not bad. Like, I don't know why everybody just decided, like, oh, Tua's bad. Like, he can't throw the ball 75 yards down the field. Like, yeah, Tua doesn't have Allen and Herbert and Mahomes' arm talent. But guess what? Only those 3 guys have that arm talent. Joe Burrow's still pretty good. Joe Burrow can probably throw about as far as Tua can. Like, they have a pretty similar arm, I feel like. But people really do not like Tua for like one reason or another. And that might be the Bama thing might be a thing too, because people like hate Bama like players, I guess. But it's bizarre. I mean, I think the one thing about Tua that people forgot is that he is an incredibly accurate passer. Like, his comp coming out was if he reached his threshold was Drew Brees. Like, he can throw a very accurate football. And the Dolphins went out and said, we're going to get the fastest player alive, and we're going to pair him next to our stud pick. That is also probably just as fast. And then we're going to get a bunch of fast running backs and see how it goes. And then they asked Tua to just dump these 5 to 10 yard passes, and he drops them right where he needs to, and they make the rest of the plays. It's kind of like perfect. It's kind of literally exactly how that team should be built.
Just a heads up, doing the scoring, Justin missed his lock and did not submit 3 game picks. So giving you guys that.
He just didn't do the Mondays, did he?
No, he did not pick Rams, Atlanta, or San Francisco and Seattle. Oh, he did pick. He picked Seattle. Interesting.
Picked Seattle. Okay.
Go ahead, Clark. Sorry.
No, I was going to say it's crazy how this, another explosive team that could be in the wild card round just because they're not going to win their division because of Buffalo. It sucks. It really. And then you go down to the AFC South and you see not one team over 500 there, which one of those teams is going to make the playoffs and win their division and have a home playoff game. Meanwhile, the Dolphins could be on the road, which is nuts.
Happens every year.
Yeah, it does. But now we talked about the Dolphins, but I mean, Lamar again, 2 weeks in a row. Great performances all around. He's honestly, if the record was, 2-0 instead of 1-1, maybe MVP Lamar again. I mean, he's showing out. He's
great.
Really, really showing out. Yeah. I mean, he still has no weapons really, which kind of stinks. But he's doing it all on his own. I mean, 300 passing yards, 100 rushing yards. I mean, Ravens look good though. Like, you can't discount them, especially in that division where it's kind of like Ravens are bust at this point. Like, seeing how all the other teams are playing. Yeah. But what a game! This is a cool game. This is a really, really good game this week.
Yeah, the Ravens desperately need Dobbins and Gus Edwards back because the Kenyon Drake, Mike Davis running back room is quite literally like losing them games as of right now.
Yeah. Like Clark said, I mean, it just like I was watching, I'm like, okay, 35-14. Wow. And then it's like 35. It's like they're down by 3 and they're going in to score and like 2 minutes left. I'm like, oh, okay. And then Tua's, I mean, you got to give credit. He's playing well. So silence the haters.
See how he said that with like vile in his voice? Like, why? You got to give it to him. He's playing okay.
Yeah, I mean, like
I just feel like that's, and I'm not just saying you. Like, I feel like everybody like talks about Tua that way. Like, it's like, oh, this guy like kind of stinks. Like, he was a top 5 pick.
I know.
Like, everybody's like off of him.
Both Jesse and Tua need wheelbarrows. Now it's time for Clark to get a little excited. The Jacksonville Jaguars shut out the Colts 24-0. Matt Ryan, 3 picks. Jonathan Taylor, a rare off game. Quoting Justin here in the list, what the fuck happened?
I'm not going to talk 500 words a second like Justin does when the Colts play. He goes off on his tangents and whatever. I'm not like that. But yeah, they just look like crap, plain and simple. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. They played bad. Defense looks awful. They just don't have it right now. They don't have it yet. I think it gets turned around eventually. Probably too late again, like last year and whatnot. And instead of choking last year, we're starting cold this year and just going to miss it by, playing hot. But it's going to be too late by that point. Yeah, they just need to get their stuff together. Like last week was unexcusable to tie. To even be down 20-3 and then tie it is ridiculous. I mean, Jacksonville's a better team, but to get shut out, not even like lose by like 3, or something like that to get completely shut out. I mean, you just get yourself together. That's all I got.
This is also a Jags defense that just got, lit up a little bit, I would say, by the Washington Commies the week before.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't say that offense is necessarily explosive. And I understand the Colts didn't have Pittman and you didn't have Pierce, but guess what? Didn't matter because you should have had another receiver anyway. Ballard didn't value the receiver going into this year. I think we all agreed another receiver was needed. You felt it so badly in this game. And another thing, that I think you alluded to, another slow start for the Colts. This seems like it's a Frank Reich thing. You can't even, pass the blame of, we're getting settled in with it. It's Matt Ryan. He's 36, 37 years old. It's not we're assimilating into a new thing. Like this is, you brought in Matt Ryan to fix up what Wentz couldn't do, be a little bit more, precise, a little bit more accurate, a little bit more of, I guess, the veteran/adult in the room. And yet you're doing the exact same thing that you had with Wentz last year. And it's okay to start slow, except for when you start so slow that you're literally 1-4, and then you're fighting to get back into your division, which obviously we just seen with Jacksonville. As I kept saying, like they have a real coach now. Like they have real NFL guys in the building, and they have Trevor Lawrence. I don't think they're going to be bad for very long. They spent a lot of money in free agency, and a lot of people wanted to point and laugh at the Christian Kirk contract. Guess what? Christian Kirk is overpaid, but he's still pretty good at football. A lot of people like to point and be like, they did this wrong. They did this wrong. They're a better team. That's what they did. They went out. They might have overspent. They might have, used some draft picks on some questionable things, but this is a better team than they were last year, far and away. And the Colts look like they're starting slow. And you have to think, is this Reich's last shot to kind of do this thing?
Yeah, it obviously playoffs are bust for Reich, I think.
I think the Colts are also in an even weirder position because the young, talented core that you guys had that was, we just need a quarterback and we can pay the quarterback and then everybody else, is fine because they're all young. You're going to have to pay that class soon. And also then if you just keep running it back with mid-level veteran quarterbacks, you're never in a position to draft a quarterback. Mm-hmm. So the Colts went from not making the playoffs last year to, I think it feels like if they don't win a playoff game, this Matt Ryan thing was for a loss.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. I got nothing to rebuttal with that. I mean, I think Reich's gone no matter what, almost if you miss the playoffs this year. If he's not gone by midseason, if they keep losing. I think it's a Reich thing at this point because it's not the talent. The talent's there. It's there. It's just it has to be the coaching at this point if it's not the talent.
They all said it was Carson. They all said it was Carson Wentz's fault.
I know. It might have been
maybe it wasn't all his fault.
I know.
Luckily for the Colts, they're in a terrible. This division's worse than the NFC East now.
Oh, it's way.
This is the worst division. This is the worst division in football already.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
It's going to be tough. Got the Chiefs coming into town next week, which is not going to be easy.
Whatever.
But again, like I said, a little bit an easier division. If they can, they're second place, and they
second place, tied for second. Yes, sir.
Yeah, lost first two games. So,
and alluding back to old podcasts and stuff, I'm pulling a Jesse card here. I did say the sneaky Jags, they were the one team, the one shocker out of the division winners that could possibly win the division. They're sneaky. So watch out for them still. I'm not counting.
They also got that last place schedule. That also always helps when a team goes from last place to first, is having that last place schedule.
Maybe next year for the Colts then.
We'll have to see if the Colts can make some adjustments because like you said, Clark, I mean, if things don't get better, we could see Reich potentially be fired.
If Reich's fired, Gus Bradley's taking over as interim head coach.
That's worse. That's
worse.
I
agree.
No,
That's
just
why
ride
I
out the season and then scrap everything.
Then you got to pay Pittman and Taylor, baby.
Hey, we got Q out of the way. That was the big one. I already ordered my jersey. It came today, so
it's not like the Colts are going to spend that free agent money on actual free agents that could come and help their team. No, they only re-sign guys.
Yep, that is true. So Colts potentially looking a little bit fraudulent early in the season. See if they can bounce back. Pull up my rundown here. Sorry. Okay.
Let's
the
talk
Jets.
Steelers Patriots real quick. Okay.
Let's go Jets. Bigger win.
Oh, we're doing Jets.
Yeah, they come back from I think it was 31-14?
31-7.
17?
I think so.
Garrett Wilson, the Garrett Wilson game, scores 2 touchdowns. Joe Flacco comes in, saves the day, and the Jets steal a win from the Brownies.
Nick Chubb ran in. Shouldn't have ran in.
I saw what was that about? I don't get that.
If he goes down at a new first down, the Jets are out of timeouts. They kneel out. It's over. Okay. The Jets did not have any timeouts, so the clock would have hit 0. Chubb ran in the touchdown that gave the Jets the opportunity to score quickly, get the ball back.
Like Madden.
Yeah. You got to go down, man.
They hit like a 50-yard touchdown to Corey Davis.
Yeah, Corey Davis on broken coverage.
Wide open.
Wide open.
Nuts. I don't know how.
Looks like what the Jets did to the Raiders last year.
I mean, it's kind of satisfying to see the Browns lose because of all the
Agreed. I love seeing the Browns lose. I'm all against the Browns.
Granted, Rapey isn't playing yet, but
doesn't matter. The way they've embraced him, the way the culture over there is right now. It's literally disgusting.
They love it. Like they're like happy Deshaun Watson.
I said this was like gonna happen. Like they were gonna put their arms around him so much that it was gonna be like an embracing, and it's oh god, it makes me sick. It literally makes me sick.
It's uncomfy.
Good for the Jets. Good for Joe Flacco.
Oh yeah,
suck it, Browns.
Browns on the new Brownie the Elf field, they lose. So tough loss for them. Speaking of tough losses, Trey Lance out for the season for the Niners. This one hurts them. Given the keys to the franchise. Well, I mean, I guess it's good they kept Jimmy G, and he comes in and leads them to a win against the Seahawks. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, the locker room, I think, clearly prefers Jimmy, but I think also that's kind of the issue is, yeah, you might like Jimmy more, but I think we all did understand that the ceiling is higher with Lance. You're not going to see that ceiling now. Also, this is such a bad position for Lance because now if Jimmy takes them to the playoffs again, Trey Lance has got to go back into the locker room again, try to win over the locker room again on a team that clearly doesn't really want him as much as the front office wanted him because the team is clearly likes Jimmy a lot more than him at least. And it makes sense. There's a lot of veterans on that team. They probably don't think a 22-year-old from Division 1A is going to be better for them. But I mean, this is such a weird situation now because Jimmy's probably going to lead them to the playoffs. They're a talented enough team. That division has 2 bad, I think, teams in it. I don't think the Cardinals are good. I think that's a division with 2 bad teams in it in an NFC that is probably at the worst it's been in a couple years. What do you do? Like, what do you do in that scenario? It's really tough. I feel so bad for Lance. I hope if the 49ers do decide that this changes their mind and they're going to stick with Jimmy, that he can, get traded to a team that actually wants him. At the same time, I really hope the 49ers don't just let Jimmy walk, put Trey Lance in a position where he's going to fail, because that locker room was very clearly happy when Jimmy Garoppolo came in. And it is kind of sad to see how much I think it was just coming through the screen, how much they preferred to have Jimmy out there.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking 4 years with San Fran. The trade deadline year, he goes 5-0 as a starter. Obviously, gets hurt the following year, and then Super Bowl, and then playoff NFC Championship. So, like you said, it is going to be hard for Trey Lance if Jimmy does lead them.
I think the thing is, like, when you hear those things, oh, took him to a Super Bowl, took him to an NFC Championship, everybody's like, oh yeah, how do you move off that guy? But then you also kind of have to remember that they got to those games in spite of him, not because of him. He wasn't great in those divisional games. He wasn't great in those conference championship games. They got Lance because he was supposed to be the one that could maybe have the potential to take them to that next level. That Jimmy got them to a Super Bowl, but yes, then he showed that clearly on that stage, Mahomes was the better player. And I think they swung so hard because they knew they needed a better guy, and that isn't Garoppolo. Garoppolo's going to get you to the playoffs. He's going to win you a bunch of games. If the situation is fully right, I'm sure he can probably win you a Super Bowl. But it is a significant disadvantage that you are at versus having a Patrick Mahomes, a Justin Herbert, a Josh Allen. I don't think anybody disagrees there.
Clark, anything?
I'm good.
All right. Trey Lance out for the year, so hoping for a speedy recovery from him. Cowboys, Cooper Rush leading against the defending AFC champs, and the Bengals lose again. Yeah, Burrow does not look too great. The defense looks a shell of itself. Had a chance to stop them to go in for the win, but Brett Maher hits a 51-yarder to win it for the Bengals. So tough loss for them.
Yeah, kind of frauds. Super Bowl hangover probably. They're talented again. I mean, it's kind of like the Colts in a way where they're very talented on both sides.
Hey, but they have 2 losses now.
I know we have a better record than the Bengals. That's right. But yeah, kind of fraudulent right now until they prove something to me. Yeah, that's all I got.
Agreed. I don't know what to make of this Bengals team yet, because if this is what they're going to look like for most of the year, it just looks like they're really bad for pretty much the entire first half, and then they try to get themselves back into it in the second half. It's never a good team to really run through. That's what the Raiders were all of last year, pretty much.
Yeah, and the offensive line is still horrible for the amount of money that they spent.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
I mean, Jonah Williams was getting thrown around by Micah Parsons. It was so bad.
Literally, yeah.
I think we also do need to know Micah Parsons is like probably a top 3 defender in the NFL right now.
Absolutely.
Micah Parsons is a game wrecker. Like, insane player.
Of course, the Cowboys have them too. And lastly, before we round out, the Cardinals come back to beat the Raiders in a wild final few minutes of the fourth, and a fumble recovery brought back for a touchdown from Byron Murphy to beat the Raiders. And Kyler Murray got slapped in the face. I saw the video. Didn't look like a slap, but I get it.
He overreacted. Put it that way.
I don't think it was a slap. I think he maybe tried to reach out for a high five. I don't know.
I didn't see the video.
I'll send it to you, Jesse. But yeah, the Cardinals beat the Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders are Raiders. Yeah, they're gonna Raider.
Yeah. Devontae Adams had 12 yards.
That's bad.
Again, such another very, very talented team that made couple good off-season moves that just didn't pan out yet. I mean, especially in that division, going 0-2 this early, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for them to turn that around, I think.
Yeah. I never bought into the Raiders until they show it to me. And usually this is when they start going on their 5-game win streak. And then everybody, it'll happen. Just wait. And then everybody's, Raiders. The Raiders good.
Josh McDaniels ever starting off rough, and it was just a crazy last few minutes. I mean, you had a 4th and goal from the 20 that they scored on, and then they took a delay of game on the 2-point to take it from the 10, and he still ran around and just threw a dot to AJ Green. But huge win for the Cardinals, because they would have been what the Raiders are, just now 0-2 in a tough division.
Well, and also the Cardinals got dusted last week by the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So, and if the Raiders would have just hung on, I mean, it looks like the Cardinals are a lot worse than we probably are. I think the funniest thing that nobody is mentioning too is before the fumble recovery, Derek Carr tried to throw like 2 interceptions and somebody else fumbled before the fumble recovery. Like the Raiders were actively looked like they were trying to give the game away.
They're trying to lose.
Actively trying.
Yeah. Just rounding it out here. Lions beat the Commanders 36-27. Bucks beat the Saints.
That's a good Lions offense.
Yeah, 20-10. Bucks win with a massive fight, and Mike Evans and Lattimore's beef just continues to grow. Evans suspended for 1 game. Patriots beat the Steelers 17-14. Rams hold off a late comeback from the Falcons 31-27. Broncos barely escaped the Texans 16-9. That team does not look great to start. Packers destroy the Bears on Sunday Night Football 27-10. So pretty good.
Pretty sure Jerry Jeudy broke his collarbone too. I don't know if that's confirmed, but
yeah, Clark loves to hear that.
He got drilled into the field at one point. Looked like a broken collarbone.
Yeah, but that happened when Mike Evans gets suspended a game. I can't win. I can't win.
Can't win, Clark, but I can win in fantasy as I am 2-0. So round us out, Clark, real quick.
Well, first thing, one thing we missed.
We have less than a minute, by the way.
The Mets, Yankees, Jets, and Giants all won Sunday. That's all
Let's
I gotta
go.
say.
Historic.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Sports Department Podcast. Thanks for watching, listening. Do it, subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Follow the socials on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Sports Pod. That's Sports Pod. I don't know what's next. We'll figure that out. So stay tuned to all that stuff, and we'll see you in the next episode.